Hello everyone, this is your teacher Ayoub. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Welcome to your third online English class. So, in this class for this week, we are going to study a new unit, which is Unit 8, a cold place. So, that means that you are finished with Unit 7. Okay, let's start. So, in this in this class for this week, we are going to study the vocabulary of Unit 8 and one of the grammar, which is question tags with be. And in the next class, we are going to study the other grammar and the story. Okay? Right. So, at first, we are going to study the vocabulary. It's in your student book, page 94. And it's in your workbook, page also 94. Alright, first one. Northern lights. Okay, northern lights. Groups of light that appear in the sky at night near the North Pole. Okay, it's, as you see in this picture, groups of light that appear in the sky. So it's usually sighted in the North Pole. Example, let's use it in a sentence. The northern lights are very beautiful. Okay, as you can see, it's actually beautiful. Alright, the second one. Iceberg. Iceberg. Iceberg is a very large piece of ice floating in the sea. As you see in the picture, it's actually very large. It's a very large piece of ice and it's floating in the sea or the ocean. Okay, let's use it in a sentence. That big iceberg has been floating in the ocean for a while. Okay? Alright. Number 3. Seal. Seal. Seal is a big animal, as you see in the picture. Okay? Is a big animal that usually lives in the cold water up in the North Pole. Okay? It usually lives in the cold areas like the North Pole, and it has flippers instead of feet. So animals usually have feet, but seals have flippers. So these parts that might look like feet are actually called flippers. Okay, so they use them. Okay, so they use their flippers to move around instead of feet. Okay, let's use seal in a sentence. Seals move very slowly on the land because they don't have feet, but they swim very fast in the water because they have flippers. Okay, so as you see, it's very big, it has flippers, it moves very slowly on land, but in the sea, in the water, it swims very quickly. Number 4. Seal pup. Okay, seal pup. Seal pup is a young seal or a baby of a seal. As you see in this picture, it's tiny. It's a seal, but it's small and tiny, so it's a baby. Okay, let's put it in a sentence. Example, that seal's pup is very cute. As you see, this is a pup of a seal and it's very cute. Ice floe. Ice floe. Ice floe is a flat piece of ice floating in the sea, ranging in size from very small to almost 5 miles across. Okay, as you see in this picture, so this part right here is an ice floe. Okay, it's flat, as you see, and it's a piece of ice. Okay, you can see here, here's another one. Okay, so it's ranging in size from small to very large or massive. Okay, so here's, let's say, a small one or a tiny one, and there's a bigger one that actually can carry 2 seals. Alright, but I don't think that this one will carry a seal. Alright, let's use it in a sentence. That ice floe is carrying 2 seals, as you see here. Alright, number 6, polar bear. Polar bear is a large bear with thick white fur that lives in Arctic areas. Okay, so as you see in this picture, this is a polar bear. Okay, it has fur covering all of its body, and it's white. Okay, so it can hide in the snow, and it's thick to keep it warm. Okay, so the polar bear usually lives in Arctic areas. Arctic areas mean areas where it's very cold in there and has a lot of ice and snow and probably water. Okay, example, the polar bear is very strong and scary. Okay, number 7, polar bear cub. Polar bear cub. As the seal has a pup, the bear has a cub. Okay, so polar bear cub, a young polar bear, or a baby of a polar bear. Okay, so as you see here in this picture, this is a very small and tiny polar bear, so it's probably a cub of the polar bear. Example, the polar bear is protecting her cub. As you see in this picture, this is the mother of this polar bear cub. It's a polar bear, and this is her cub, and it is protecting it. Okay. Sledge. Sledge. Number 8, sledge. Sledge is a vehicle for traveling over snow and ice. Okay. Pulled by horses or dogs. As you see, this is a sledge. Okay, it's made to travel on snow or ice, as you see as well in this picture, and it's actually pulled by dogs, huskies, and there's someone who controls the directions, stands in here, and you can put luggage, or maybe other people can sleep or sit here while you are traveling. Okay, so let's put it in a sentence. The dogs aren't pulling the sledge fast enough. Number 9, mittens. Mittens. Mittens are a type of glove that covers the 4 fingers together, and the 5th one, which is the thumb, separately. Okay, so you can see here there's a place for the 4 fingers, and the 5th one is the thumb, has its own place, so they are separate. Okay, as you see as well in this picture, 4 fingers, the 5th one, which is the thumb, same here and same there. Okay, mittens keep your hands warm in winter. Mittens keep your hands warm in winter. Number 10, igloo. Alright, igloo. Igloo is a house shaped like dome, made of blocks of ice or hard snow. As you see in this picture, this is an igloo. Okay, so people who live in Arctic areas or in the North Pole usually live in houses looking like this. So this is a dome, as you see. This is a dome, and it has an entrance, and it's built of snow, or sorry, hard snow or ice. So we call it igloo. So Eskimo people live in igloos. So we have igloos who Eskimo people live in. So they made it, they created it, and so it's suitable for their where they live, which is the Arctic areas, and it's suitable for the environment there. Alright, now it's time to study the grammar. So question tags with be. Okay, it's in your student book, page 95 and page 126, exercise number 1, and in your workbook, page 95. Alright, so question tags with be. Okay, so a question tag is a small question at the end of a statement. Okay, a small question that comes at the end of a statement. Okay, question tags are used when asking for agreement or confirmation. So when you're asking someone to agree with you on something or not, you use question tags. Or you ask them to confirm, يؤكد information about something or not, you use question tags. Okay, so let's see more details about the question tags. Alright, so question tags with be combination. So there's a combination for question tags with be, which is divided into two parts. The first one is the positive question tag, and the second one is the negative question tag. Okay, so the form of the positive question tag, which is the first part, starts with comma. So what's before the comma is a whole statement, a whole other statement. So after the comma comes verb to be, and after the verb to be is the subject pronoun. It's a pronoun that refers to the subject. Okay, then comes a question mark. Okay, it's very simple. It's just two things that you have to combine, and that's it. So what about the negative question tag? Almost the same thing, comma, to be, not. You have to pay attention to this. Then comes the subject pronoun and the question mark. So the only difference here is that we added a not here because it's a negative question tag. So there's two types of the question tags. One is positive and the other one is negative. The only difference between them is that the negative has not in the form of it. Alright, so to use question tags with be correctly in a sentence, you need to follow these forms. So there's forms for the question tags. Okay, so we have two types of question tags. One is the negative question tag and the other one is the positive question tag. Okay, so as you see here is a negative question tag, but what came before it is a positive statement. A positive statement is a statement that has no not in it. Okay, there is no not here, as you can see. Okay, so as you have noticed, there's a negative question tag here, so there's a positive statement before it. So it's always the opposite. That's the rule. It's always the opposite. Okay, so I have a positive statement. What's the opposite of positive? negative. So always after a positive statement comes a negative question tag. It's always the opposite. Positive statement, negative question tag. Negative statement, positive question tag. Okay? It's always the opposite. العكس. Okay, let's have an example. Polar bears are white, aren't they? Okay, so polar bear is the subject of this positive statement. Are is verb to be. White is an adjective, the rest of the sentence. And we have a comma here. After the comma, as we have learned in the last slide, the form aren't, which is verb to be, then they, okay, which is the subject pronoun, then comes the question mark. Okay, so why did I put aren't and I have here an R? Okay, so what's the opposite of positive? We said that it's negative. So R is positive. What's the opposite of it? عكسها. Aren't, negative. Have added not. So aren't is isn't. Okay, aren't is isn't. Okay, so polar bears are white, aren't they? They here is what? A pronoun that refers to polar bears, is the subject. The subject pronoun here assembles the subject of the sentence, which is the polar bears. Okay, so polar bears are white, aren't they? So I'm asking for maybe a confirmation or an opinion. So I'm not quite sure that all of the polar bears out there are white. So I'm asking for confirmation. Are they, aren't they? Okay, so I always put in the first statement, okay, which even if it comes as positive or negative, the information that I am like sure about the most, but I'm not totally or 100% sure about, so I ask for a confirmation. That's why I use the negative, the question tag in general. Okay, so I think that most of the polar bears are white, so that's why I use the positive first, then I use the negative. So polar bears are white, but maybe not all of them. So I ask, aren't they? Like maybe not all of them. Okay, so the second part is almost the same, but it's just the opposite. So a negative statement, then comes a positive question tag. Okay, so the information that I am most likely sure about, that I'm sure about the most, is that Abdurrahman isn't here. Okay, I think that Abdurrahman isn't here, but I am not 100% sure. So I want to have a confirmation about it. So is he? I'm asking. Okay, so Abdurrahman is a subject, and I have he as the subject pronoun. He refers to Abdurrahman, is a singular and it's a masculine, so that's why I used he. Then comes isn't, which is the negative, is not. Okay, is not, isn't. What's the opposite of isn't? عكسها is. Okay, negative, opposite of it is positive. Negative to positive. So negative to positive, isn't to is. Then comes the question mark. Alright, so now let's apply what we have done so far. So what we have done so far is how to use question tag correctly in a sentence, and the forms of the question tags, which is the positive form and the negative form. Okay, so as I always tell you, whenever you are answering a question that is related to grammar, a grammar question, always use the forms, okay, that you have memorized when you were studying. Write them down next to you, alright, so you can answer based on them, okay. So you can your answer, to make sure that your answer are 100% correct. Okay, let's start. Complete the sentences with question tags. 0. It isn't warm here. Okay, then I stop. So when I reach the comma, I stop and search for not. Is there a not here? Yes, here it is. So I know that I have to use the positive question tag. Why? Because I have a negative statement, and as I told you before, the main rule is the opposite. Always use the opposite. So I have isn't, so it's a negative statement because I have not here. So what's the opposite of negative? Is the positive. So I need a positive question tag. Alright, so it is the subject, isn't, as it's here, warm here. Okay, then the comma, then what's the opposite of the verb to be? Isn't. Is. It's positive. Okay, then where's the subject? It's always before the verb to be, which is it. So I use a pronoun that can refers to it correctly, and it can only refer to it. So it isn't warm here, is it? Okay, number 1. The Sphinx is in Egypt. I stop whenever I reach the comma. So I search for not. Is there a not here? No. Okay, so that means that this statement is positive. Okay, so what do I need when I have a positive statement? I need a negative question, so I need the opposite of it. Okay, so the Sphinx is in Egypt. Here it is, a positive statement. So I need a negative question tag. So the Sphinx is verb to be. Okay, so what's the opposite of is? Isn't. Okay, I just add not. Alright, then I need subject pronoun. So where's the subject? Is the Sphinx. Okay, so how can I replace Sphinx with a pronoun correctly? It. Okay, it refers to the Sphinx. Alright, now it's your turn to answer. Okay, as I told you before, use the forms that I think that you have memorized already by now. So use them. Search for a not in the sentence, in the first statement. Always stop at the comma and search for not. If there is a not, then it's a negative statement and you need a positive question tag. So if there is no not, so that means it's a positive statement, so you need a negative question tag. Okay, all right, I'll give you 1 minute to answer this. Okay, so I think that this is enough. Let's see the answers. Alright, so the answers are number 2. Most parrots are very colorful. Aren't they? So most parrots are very colorful. Okay, so I don't have a not here, so that means that this is a positive statement. Okay, so I need a negative question tag. So most parrots is the subject, are is verb to be, very colorful is the rest of the sentence. So what's the opposite of are? Aren't. What's the how can we replace parrots with a subject pronoun? They. Okay. Number 3. The Harrisons aren't at home today. Okay. Are they? So I have a not here. So what's the opposite of it? Is are. Harrisons, they. Alright. So number 4. It isn't raining now. Is it? So I have a not here. What's the opposite of it? Is, and I already have the pronoun, so I just put it the way it is. Okay, number 5. Bears are good at climbing trees. Aren't they? So bears can be replaced by they, and are the opposite of it. Aren't. Okay? Alright. Number 6. Mars isn't the smallest planet. Is it? So isn't becomes is, and Mars becomes it. Alright, this is it. This is our class for this week. So you have a homework, workbook page 94, exercises 1 and 2 and 3, and workbook as well, page 95, exercises 1 and 3. I know that they might look like a lot, but they're actually very easy, and I'm sure that you're going to answer them very quickly, so don't panic or anything. Thank you for attending and listening to this class. See you next week. Stay safe.